Hello, my name is Paul Smith and I'm the author of this book, Learning While Working, Structuring Your On-the-Job Training from ATD Press. This book is all about structured on-the-job training, how to create such a program, how to maintain such a program, how to manage such a program. I'm a practitioner who does this kind of work as my day job, and I wanted to be able to share that information with my peers who are involved in learning and development roles. As you may imagine, when people read the book or when they see me at meetings or conferences, they have questions. And there are some questions that do come up quite a bit in the different contexts. And I thought this is a good way to address some of those questions that come into me. So I've got this handy little mailbox here. Let's just take a look at one of the questions. Paul, we launched an SOJT program, but are having trouble measuring and reporting its successes. What data points or focus areas do you recommend we use to confirm the program is successful for our leaders? Oh, so you've already launched an SOJT program, but you're having some difficulty, some challenges in being able to measure and report its success? That's unfortunately not an uncommon problem for training in general. But see, here's the issue. It shouldn't be a problem. If we design training correctly, structured on the job training or any training, we should start first with asking the customer, whoever the training is being prepared for, we should be asking the customer, what in your words, in your view, what does success look like? What needs to be the scenario, the reality when we get to the end of this training from where we are now? Because if you can have that identified up front, then that should drive the content of what you develop. Because it should be, everything in there should point to addressing and fixing those issues that the customer has identified. If you have that in place, then you can go through the program, and when you get to the end, all you got to do is go back to those very things that the business, the customer identified as these are our areas of need, and you just see, has anything changed from what it was identified as before we started? If you don't have that starting point though, it does make this a lot more difficult. You know, it kind of reminds me of the current debate going on right now about the basketball GOAT, the greatest of all time. Because, you know, LeBron James recently broke that scoring record. And so then everyone's like, hey, he's the greatest of all time. The problem is there are some others who disagree, who throw out some other names and are pretty passionate about that as well. It's almost like this big ideological tug of war.
I don't care what you say. LeBron is the GOAT now because he broke that scoring record. He broke it in fewer games than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did.
Oh, whatever. It may have taken Kareem more games, but LeBron took 20 seasons to get there. If LeBron was really the GOAT, he should have been able to break the record in fewer seasons than Kareem did.
Oh, come on now. That didn't mean anything.
Personally, I think you're both nuts. Clearly, Michael Jordan is the GOAT.
Who's that?
I don't know. I thought he was with you.
Look, the reality is Jordan has twice as much hardware as LeBron does. I mean, just look at how big of a difference there is. MJ did it in 931 games. LeBron's at over 1,300 games, and he's not even close to having as much hardware. Clearly, that makes Jordan the GOAT.
And you see, the problem is the GOAT debate for basketball is never going to be settled. And the reason it will never be settled is because there is no universal, understood, agreed upon definition of what defines the GOAT. All the players just cited, others, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, any of them, Wilt Chamberlain, any of them, past or even present, there are a lot of superstars, and many of them could lay claim to being the GOAT because of this stat or this stat or this stat. The problem is, because we haven't said these are the stats that matter, that define GOAT, it's open to massive interpretation. And that's what happens to our training programs. That's what's probably happening to your Structured on the Job training program right now. because that wasn't defined up front, you're now struggling with how to define the success on the back end. It's not too late though. Sit down with your leadership, have a good deep conversation, ask them these important questions. What does success need to look like? And then once you have a meaty response to that, go back and look at your curriculum. Make sure the program you've launched really does point in that direction. Well, maybe you might need to make some tweaks. Thank you for watching. Keep on developing.